Do the impossible, see the invisible. Row, row, fight the power. Touch the untouchable, break the unbreakable. Row, row, fight the power. Welcome to the Peak of Fiction podcast, the one and only podcast where we cover the very best of fiction, be it TV, movies, anime, comics, and more, to find the true peak of fiction. And on this wonderful day, we are here to talk about Gurren Lagann. Last week we talked about Gurren Lagann, and now we're talking about the second half of it. And it's peak. All right, I can tell you right now, before we even get into it, it's peak fiction. I'm putting the stamp on it. But you're not just here for that. You're here to get into all the other details of really what makes it so special, such a unique show. And to do that, I am joined by my wonderful co-host. I have Supa O.
What's good, everyone? Who the hell do you think I am?
Beto.
Good evening, good morning, everybody.
And GreyTheSamurai.
If you have not seen this series, I'm hoping that our pod will inspire you. This is truly a piece of art.
And BaitZaDust myself. All right, so we will talk about the last 11 episodes technically, because we start with episode 16 to 27. And before we get into our full breakdown review, what are your spoiler-free, I guess, or a spoiler? I mean, the show's been out for a long time, but what are your impressions of the second half of Gurren Lagann?
I'll start.
Okay.
I'll start. I will say that the first half of Gurren Lagann did a beautiful job of setting a stage. We understand actors. They don't introduce any additional big characters in the second half by design. They simply show growth in the characters that they've introduced in the first half. And what they do with those characters is they flesh them out in a way that gives you a clearer understanding of their true potential. And that potential is realized when the stakes reach points that are unbelievably high. And when you think, oh, this is as high as the stakes could possibly get, you realize that you have many episodes left. You're like, oh shoot, no, wait. The stakes get even higher. This is great. It literally feels like I'm not trying to be corny. It literally feels like you're drilling into the heavens with the storyline. It literally feels like when you think you've reached the limit of the stratosphere, like, oh shoot, there's something bigger up here. Oh shoot, there's something bigger up here, and it just keeps going up. I was genuinely impressed. I'm rarely genuinely impressed. Sometimes I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool, or like, that's neat. This specific storyline had a lot. This second half really blew the doors open in ways that I didn't expect to see. And yeah, for sure. Those are my initial thoughts. We'll dig deeper, but pun intended. But that's where I wanted to start with it.
Yeah,
all right.
I hear you. I share a lot of the same sentiment you share, Gray, and also have a lot of the sentiment I share from last week about when we discussed this series. But even those points I brought up back then. I bring them now. This is a very phenomenal series, and the part 2 of this definitely fulfills. It definitely is on par with the first part. Even in my opinion, probably even surpasses it, because the first part of Gurren Lagann kind of lobbed the ball up in the air, while the second part just kind of slam dunks it for the alley-oop. You know what I mean?
Alley-oop. Alley-oop yourself like Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, truly. Yeah, this show's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. And from the soundtrack to the characters to how it looks, and it looked good before, and the characters were good before, and it sounded good before. It feels like it takes all of those elements and puts it up a notch. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I'll get more into my thoughts when we go down our categories, but yeah, for right now, I really enjoyed the series as a whole, and I wish I got around to watching the movie, because in case Gray and Beto doesn't know, there is a movie about that recaps the second part a bit, and I heard it is some.
Yeah, there's actually, it's a pair of movies. One that recaps, that kind of condenses and has new animation of the first half, and the one that does the same thing for the second half. The second half especially has a lot of new scenes and I think the entire like final battle section is kind of like redone to, if you can believe it, make it even more epic and grand, and add even
Cinematic, maybe.
more cinematic moments for the characters and whatnot. Everything about like the core story stays intact, right? There's no like, I'm not gonna tell like, oh yeah, and then this there's a secret post-credit scene that changes everything, but it just adds much more to it in a really cool way. So if you want to continue, you want to see a little extra Gurren Lagann, hey, the movie is a really great option.
Overall, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Specifically, I guess everyone has said what they already said. It's like the second part just really exceeds things. It's like watching Dune Part 1 and then you're seeing Dune Part 2. It's like, wow, this is where everything just culminates and just becomes this gigantic explosion of amazing set pieces and a lot of amazing action scenes. Just all their character growth has gone through, and it's just finally done here, where this is their last stand, and the stakes are high, and everything is do or die situation. And from this second part, I see how crazy and how epic and how crazily animated it looks. I was fairly certain that this was going to get a lot more crazier, and it did. It definitely did. I definitely liked this second part of it. It was a blast to watch. From how it ends, it's just like it's so bittersweet.
Yeah. I'll say this, right? Gurren Lagann, episode 1, minute 1, right? As soon as she opens, writes a check, right? It says, this is how crazy the show is going to get, right? When it opens to that huge, crazy, like, space battle and whatnot. You do not see a return on that check until, like, probably episode, like, 20, 24, right? 23 or 24 of the show. But it clears. That check, the money's good. All right? When that check is cashed by the show, the animation's on point, and actually, it's even better than what they hinted at, right? That was just a little bit, right? But you can even imagine actually how good it was going to be when we finally got there. But we finally got to space when we saw like how the show progressed, how the themes, the characters evolved. It's great. Especially on this rewatch, it just solidifies like this is one of the greatest shows of all time. Like easily, you can throw that in there. Like if you're doing like your whatever top 10, 20 anime list, you can throw Gurren Lagann in there. It's incredible, one of a kind. Like you shouldn't try to replicate it because it's just not going to be as good. You can be inspired by it for sure, but don't try to replicate it. So I think that's our initial impression. So before we get into our main review, I would like to, one, shout out all of our new followers on TikTok, YouTube, Spotify. We appreciate you. Okay, the climbers are growing. Shout out to all of the numerous Indian fans that have hopped on for discussions about Indian films. Stick around; you will not be disappointed. Okay, let's say I got something coming next week for y'all. All right, so stick around. And if you want to see more, join the climb. Please subscribe, follow YouTube, Spotify, Apple. Hit up our channels. We have a X account. We have an Instagram account. You will not be disappointed. It's a good time. And hey, what's the worst that can happen? Well, before we get into our main review, we will do a swift summary of Gurren Lagann, just to catch everyone up and to get everyone in the right headspace for the review. So the second part of Gurren Lagann begins not with a actual time skip, but with a compilation episode. Now, I think compilation episodes feel to me like a relic of a past time, but it is the best compilation episode, the best one ever made, as they do a really cool behind the scenes art breakdown that really kind of gets you going and pumps you up for the next thing coming. Now, after the compilation episode, we start with a 7-year time skip, as everyone has moved on from the events of the first part. Human society has flourished. There is a new city with both beastmen and humans living together. Everyone's kind of enjoying life on the surface. Simone is the supreme commander of like Earth, and he has his new job is trying to manage everything. And all of the guys, all of the cool characters and side characters from the last part are now government officials, right? Including Rosu, who is Simone's right-hand man, handles a lot of the military, and he's truly stressed, and he's a lot more on ball about the minutiae of things than Simone is. And they're still wondering, what did the Spiral King mean when he said, when 1 million apes are on the surface, the moon will like bear disaster. So as this goes on, the different characters, we can see how they've like, progressed. And in the background, Katan's sister, one of the black siblings, who married one of the other side characters, who piloted a gunman, is pregnant and is very close to giving birth. Simone is trying to manage everything, and through this, as they are trying and they're dealing with different rebellions, Viral still acting up and doing his own kind of thing, fighting against the government. Rosu is trying to put like a kind of a tight clamp on things. And when the Katan sibling, right, then when she finally gives birth to their new daughter, that is what ticks over the population to 1 million people. And that instantly caused everything to go haywire. Nia, right, who's now Simone's girlfriend, who you're proposed to, and that's like his fiance, she gets like caught up in some kind of thing and gets transformed, and all of a sudden, right, from the moon, right, projected these new forms of mecha. Like, they're not even mecha. They're like geometric shapes show up and start destroying everything. And suddenly, they're caught into this new battle. Simone tries to help out in his efforts to destroy Gurren Lagann, causes even more damage in the city. People are upset, and the entire world discovers that since they've hit 1 million people, well, now the anti-spirals, right, are coming to exterminate the entire human race, right? So in 2 weeks, the moon is going to fall upon the Earth and destroy everything. So Simone's stressed. Simone's trying to figure it out. And during this time, Rosu decides that Simone doesn't got it to handle the situation, and he's still carrying that mindset that he had from his original village, and he arrests Simone. Simone is put on trial, and he's like, well, I can't save everyone, but I'm going to try to save the human race best way I can. So I'm going to put everyone in underground villages, and, that's going to save like 600,000 of the 1 million people. I got to make some cuts, but that's just how I have to do it.
Wild.
Then it gets pretty wild, right? This is a part where you really start to hate Rosu. Okay,
Yeah.
You really start to hate Rosu in this part. So Rosu kind of coups the government. He is now the supreme commander. He's taken over, and Simone and Vera are now in the same prison, right? Are reunite, and they kind of hash out their differences, right? And start to form a kind of bond. Yoko, who's living her own kind of life on the side as a teacher, is retired from war, now is thrown back into the fight, goes to break out Simone and then Viral, and Rosu, who's so desperately trying to save people, right? Save the human race, actually, right?
Yeah.
And the number of people he's able to save is like shrinking from 600,000 to now just 100,000 people on this arc that is, well, they realize the entire planet's screwed, right? Once the moon lands, it's kind of game over, and the planet will be uninhabitable for 1 year. So they're like, well, we can make like an arc, and we can save all these people, right? And we'll just come back. And I hate to do this, but somebody has to. Meanwhile, Nia, who's being connected to the anti-spirals, is kind of this like Silver Surfer-esque messenger of doom that's like, I want to create as much despair as possible, right? And it's every time Rosu tries to outmaneuver and have a plan, like they're right there on them. Simone is able to fight a little bit, but they're really trying to phase him out. And at this point, when all hope is kind of lost for Rosu, right, And Rosu's tried every single sort of tactical plan, every single kind of like measuring the scales. Simon's like, yeah, you try to do that, now check this out. And Spiral Power is able to completely destroy the current force of this anti-spiral enemy. And they are able, through the power, they get the gang back together, right? And through this, Rosu knows so much information because he's been talking to Lord Genome, who died, the Spiral King who died last time, but they have his head or some kind of creation of that as a biomechanical computer, which has all this information and all this lore, as he was a spiral warrior in the style of Kamina and Simone before, 1,000 years ago. He lost, and that's why he became this harsh kind of ruler that kept people underground. Because, kind of like Rosu, it was, well, it's not the best, but the human race will survive. So now, with their spiral power, they're able to fight back, and Simone is able to combine with the Gurren in order to make the, Gurren Lagann, and is able to defeat the anti-spirals in that kind of low orbit. The moon is actually the Spiral King's old flagship. They're able to combine with that, make a super battleship, right? And they're able to temporarily defeat the Spiral King. But it's not over, right? They know they're going to have to go into space and find the anti-spirals in order to defeat them permanently. And also Nia's out there. And they have to save Nia. So they get the gang back together, right? And they're like, one last mission, one last fight, one last war. We're going to bring it to them. Okay, and this is the part where things start to get weird. This is the part where they start throwing out terms like probability missiles and Schrodinger's attack and all of these universal and multiversal concepts. So they make their way to the anti-spiral and they fight things beyond their comprehension and in this one last effort. A lot of the OGs fall in battle, but they persist, and it all comes down to Simone and the gang who fight through their own kind of personal battles when they're all put in this kind of mental prison, and they're able to overcome it, gain this immense power, the power to both create universes, right? And they fight mano a mano with the anti-spiral, who is originally from a planet of spiral beings, who, upon seeing the fact that the spiral power, which is baked into the universe, the double helix, right, the strands of DNA, it would destroy the universe, right? Inevitably. Spiral people with this power will progress so rapidly, so fast, that they would just destroy everything, right? Creating the spiral nemesis. So they decide, well, if that's going to happen, we're going to be anti-spirals. We have the resolve to crush everything, right? Destroy all these races, to subdue our own evolution. Because if we act as this force of entropy, well, then we can save the universe. But Team Gurren Lagann says, screw that. We will overcome this, right? We will take the spiral power and we will control it. And they use that. They defeat the anti-spiral at a great cost, unfortunately, because even though the battle's won, they save the entire universe. Everything is great. Nia, who at this point had been subjected to all the sort of damage and torture trying to hold on, and because of the fact that she is so integrated with the anti-spirals, unfortunately passes away the very second that she gets married to Simone. Fades away. And the question's asked, well, Simone, you have the power. You have the power of like a god, right? Why can't you bring her back? Why can't you bring everyone back? And Simone decides, no, the people we've lost, and I have a responsibility to control this power. So Simone retires. We see the epilogue. We see where all the characters kind of end up, and all the different spiral races who were in hiding are kind of united, and they're reaching out to the entire universe, right? The sky is full of stars, full of friends, full of family, and Simone on his lonesome, is just a digger, hanging out, doing his thing, helping out the kids, and he's happy about that, walking his own path. And that is Gurren Lagann.
Hey.
All
Well
right.
summarized.
Thank you. So now we get into our review, and our review is on a 5-metric system. We review visuals, characters, writing and dialogue, X factor, hype moments, and aura, and we calculate all these different things on a 1 through 5 to get the final score and determine if something is peak fiction. So we will start by taking a look at the visuals. So what do we think? Oh,
I share a lot of the same sentiments I've had from last week when we were discussing the series, but the series still looks really good. The characters still move very animated and it works really well. You could definitely see that I've got a current Gynex, that Gynex effect on like all the characters and their expressions, especially during like the penultimate battle when the Team Gurren Lagann goes into space and everyone's popping off. Everyone, has their moment, and like explosions and the lights are all just. I know I explained it, but it's like there's a good use of like light and explosions and throughout this, especially throughout those fights. And everyone is. This is a time skip, and I really like everyone's time skip design. With a caveat of like one person, but I'll get maybe a little bit more into that after everyone else's take. But I also really like.
Okay, I feel like I might know who you're talking about, but we'll see.
Ooh, say it. This is your time.
You know what? Screw it. Yeah, let me say it. And this didn't bother me the first time I watched this, but I think it's because like I've kind of grown as I get a little older. Yoko's design is a bit much, specifically her like space design.
Bro, okay, I was gonna say that. Not her time skip design, but the design she gets when she's on the ship, like at the end.
Yes.
Is like, it's terrible. It's terrible. Okay, and not because it's like fan service or whatever. It's just a bad design. Okay.
What?
I don't know what they were cooking with that design. Okay, with the weird half cape.
And look, I like fan service more than as much as the next guy, right? Love the anatomy. You know what I mean? I'm watching fan service right now. But anyway, but there is like certain scenes.
My God, bro.
There is just, especially in like that Pen Ultimate fight. I specifically remember when like everyone's giving their heart out. Simon's like yelling at the anti-spiral. We're about to clash, and we're shooting at like different members on the ship, and then we shoot to like Yoko, and it looks like he has like pasties and like panties on. It's just like, bro, this isn't even like a.
Yeah, it's absurd. Okay, it's.
I'm like, I don't remember it being like.
Yeah, it's patently absurd. And also the fact that the back of it goes like all the way down. It goes all the way down to the cheeks.
Giant
and they are just out. It's not good, folks. It's just not a good that kind of design. But yeah. Other than that, everyone else is killing it.
The physics also are like, bruh, she turns around. Spiral power. Nah, man. It's valid, bro. It's a valid complaint, bro. Nah, that's hilarious. I was waiting for somebody to say it. If he didn't say it, I was gonna say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a bit much.
I'm happy we got that out the way. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. I'm like, is it just me? It's just me. I'm like, but yeah, no, it was. Other than that, no, everyone's pretty on point, and I don't want to take away all the points just to have my co-host take it away. But I really like the anti-spirals design as well. Just as simple.
Oh yes, like.
Yeah, it's.
Oh wait! You mean the anti-spiral?
Yeah,
the anti-spiral.
Yeah.
Exactly what he's referring to.
Oh, that design's great.
Yeah, like especially because like it's very like simple, but like it contrasts so much with the world to me, because everyone has like these really cool and unique designs, and here's like the anti-spiral who's just a straight black figure, and he looks like he's like sketchily drawn. But because he's so simply drawn, it kind of splits him, and he's contrast from like the rest of the characters. And because he contrasts so much, you can feel that kind of otherworldly vibe from him.
Yeah, and he also has like realistic like textures that like
Yeah.
alternate over his like outline.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
in a really cool way. Yeah, the anti-spiral design's great.
yeah. But yeah, I really.
I'd also like to talk about.
Oh yeah,
Continue.
there you go. No, I'm pretty much already done. But yeah, I really like the design, so I'm gonna have to give it like a 5 for visuals for me.
I like to build off what you were talking about, like the anti-spiral. I love not just anti-spiral, but the anti-spirals. Like their entire faction's design
Oh yeah,
is great because it feels so different. They could have gone with just like, you know, it's a bunch of mecha but evil, but they're weird. When they first show up, it's a weird like 3D polygonal like shape that just shows up and starts firing. It feels so different. It sticks out immediately to the rest of the show, and you get a feeling of, oh, this is not from around here,
yeah,
right? This is not native to this like zone, and it feels so inhuman. Like there's nothing human to like latch onto when you're fighting. It reminds me almost of some of the angels in Evangelion. Like some of them are also these weird like polygonal shapes, and it really works. Like it really works. And when we get into deeper space, and you get those weird like statuesque like faces that are just strange, right? Like they're shooting lasers and doing stuff, but it's not even a way that really makes sense, right? They're not machines, right? They're ships in a way, but they feel like otherworldly, right? In this really distinct way. And I really enjoy like how that was all categorized. All that stuff when it comes to the visuals was a big step up, and they could have went back to what they already did, but the fact that it's so different and so new really add to the visual flair. So for me, I will also give visuals a 5.
Yeah, this is very visual. I think it upped the antes a lot with just like their action scenes and basically everything that was done prior. I think I mistakenly watched the rest of it in 480p on Netflix. I'm sorry. I've committed the wrongdoing here. But
hey, that was me too.
Even
Fine, bro.
I gave you, let it be known. Let it be known. I gave them everything. Okay? I gave them a way out.
Hey,
But
yeah,
they chose to live in the gutter.
The way out was a lot of work, man.
Yeah, I
And
know.
it beat
a lot of work.
viewers. It's
I had a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Oh no! I have to watch something on a website with an ad blocker. Oh no!
Hey man, I still have I had the browser. All right, I had the browser. I had everything else.
Y'all couldn't have made it in the torrent era. You know? Y'all were too y'all were too soft. Y'all were too soft for the torrent era.
Oh,
all right, battle hardened bait. Thanks for your.
Hey man, I was out there in those trenches, man.
Hey, I still have my computer that has probably 1,000 viruses.
Like, what's going on, bro?
I have Interstellar.
What are we doing? EP was fine. It wasn't great. It wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen. It was fine.
Yeah,
It's fine.
liked it.
Inconvenient.
It's fine.
Plus, that's like.
But either way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, either way, I think I still have the same sentiment as I had previously in the last episode, where it's just such a great animated series with so much nuance and new segments happening that I don't think I've ever seen in most animes that I've watched that really goes all the way with really defining a different kind of sci-fi action scenes, because mostly a lot of the times they would go in a very, I wouldn't say, well, I guess I would, just like a copy and paste kind of way, very cliche, but these guys did every turn, every single moment, it's a surprise that no one expects. So I give it a 5 for just basically being like really beautifully animated, even when it comes to like when it came to like the epic final battle scenes.
Yeah. Great.
All right.
What's your score, Beto?
5 on him.
Yeah. On the first half, and I stand by my take. I would never change it. First half of the series, I give it a 4.5, because of that episode. Yeah. If it's perfect, it's perfect, and if it's not, it's not.
That's true.
This half was really good. And I'm not. I'll be candid. I'll speak only for myself here. I'm not, and I believe Bait feels differently on this topic because in some past reviews, he has scaled some things that he's watched against other things to determine if it was a 5 or not. And I respect that scaling system. I do, but I feel like it's too slippery of a slope in my brain to scale one show versus other shows in the era because different art styles have different intentions. I think the art style in Gurren Lagann, in moments, is designed to feel very polished, very clean, very simple. I think in other moments, it's designed to feel gritty and intense and brutal. I feel like in other moments, it's designed to feel dynamic and fluid and energetic. And I am going to specifically the art A5 and the visuals A5 purely because the intentions in this half were achieved and they were achieved well. There's a scene there are a lot of really unique scenes that I think are really like flashy and big and bombastic. But there's a specific scene where Shimon is in a state of extreme emotional pain because he's watched the death of many of his loved ones. And in this scene, he kind of has like this moment of like pushing through. He has a lot of I'm pushing through challenge moments. But in this moment, he's pushing through more than just his own limits. He's pushing through the emotional weight of the events that have just taken place. And we get to a scene where literally his eyes are shielded by this new mask design that he's wearing. And his tears are literally as like drops of blood, like coming down his face. And when I saw it, my first initial thought was, these designs are really cool and the look is really interesting, but art takes on new meaning when it's designed with intention. And the choice, and for me, through this whole second half, that one specific scene was a highlight purely because we got a moment that they didn't have to build that way. It could have just been normal tears, and the people would have still been like, man, Shimon's really going through it right now. But they decided to intensify it by making it like this man is pushing himself beyond his limits, dealing with extreme emotional strain, and has the weight of not only a fleet, but an entire planet. And unbeknownst to him at that point in the story, I believe, multiple galaxies of people riding on his shoulders. And the weight lends itself to a strain beyond what one would typically refer to as standard emotional pain. And they illustrated it. And I'm like, okay, I see what's going on. Like, we're now working on small details in the story and in the visuals to carry thoughts and ideas that are being explicitly said. And I feel like that is one space that anime shines because it's fantasy and you can do whatever you want with anime. You have virtually no limitations. And it's not the most beautiful anime I've ever seen. I've seen better looking anime visually, but this anime achieved the intended objectives. And for that reason, for the art, I will give it a 5.
I was surprised that resonated with you so much, but that was a really great observation. Appreciate it. All right, we will move on to the characters. And I will say, since this is a time skip, and as Gray brought up earlier, I think there's maybe like 2 3 new characters, right? If you include the villain. There's like a couple. It's like maybe 2 guys like hang like from that are new to the government and the villain, but everyone else is a character from the first half of the show that has just progressed. And I'll say that the progression during this time skip of both like design and characters and how they act and whatnot was really good. Like, I think it was really well done, especially like all the older guys who, you know, haven't really adjusted to being politicians and leaders, right? Because they're fighters. They're fighter soldiers now. They lead the government. And Simone especially, I really like how he progressed and how he both embodied, kind of Kamina's spirit, but his own kind of like knowledge and determination. And even when things were down for him, right? Especially with everything that Rosie was doing, he never gave up, really. Right. I think there was one moment where he was kind of thrown off, his game a little bit in the prison, but he was never like truly down and out. And you could tell he maintained that character arc from the first part. And it even pushed even further, right? Especially like at the end when it's all based on someone's determination, someone's willpower, right? Someone's desire to go on. Simon was such a powerful driving force, right? So whenever he got like really excited and literally was kind of carrying that ship and was carrying, the Gurren Lagann, Team Gurren, it really worked. So Simon was excellent. And I'll leave like more space for other discussions, but I want to talk about this one character, right? I feel like we all have thoughts about him. I'm gonna get out of the way. Rosu, what's up with that guy? What's up with Rosu?
Yeah,
Not the type of friend to bring at a bank robbery.
I think there was a good part of the story where I was like, they should just get together and beat Rosu with like hammers. He was
Same sentiments.
Did you really felt like that?
And I watched the show already. Okay, I already knew where the show was going, and still on this rewatch, I was like, "Are you serious, Rosu?" Like the stunts this man was pulling, especially when he sentenced Simone to death, which is crazy. With everything that he did, right? In all like of Rasu's bits, like, I understood where Rasu was coming from. I do, but man.
He does go.
Man, I hated Rosu. Yeah.
So you understand where he's coming from.
I do.
But you still reject the notion from
because it's
internal.
I'll say in retrospect, the most important episode of Gurren Lagann is episode 5, right? And that's the one where we get introduced to Rosu in his village, in his setup. Because I think that episode is a microcosm of the entire show, right? And as we zoom out, we find that actually every level is someone else that's doing what was going on in his village, like on a bigger scale, right? In Rose's village, it was just 50 people, right? And it was like, if we go over 50, then we have to send them out. And it was his like dad, right, that was doing it. Then we upgrade a level, and when we get to like out into the world and whatnot, it's a Spiral King who's doing that to humanity, right? And he's saying, well, I have to keep in control because if we get to a certain level, it'll be bad. So he's doing that. And then as we peel back out and as things get bad, right, Rosu tries to do that again to humanity. But turns out the ultimate person who's been doing that to not just humanity, but the entire universe is the anti-spiral, right? And has been saying, well, we can't let this get out or it'll be bad. And it's just like escalating levels. And episode 5 is like a microcosm
The first time we see it, yeah,
of where the entire series goes. So I understand he grew up in that environment. I do get his character. It does not change how I felt when he was wild. And
well, I was thinking, Grey, do you want to say something?
I kind of do want to say something.
Yeah,
I kind of do.
Oh wow, the Rasu Defense Force.
the Rasu Defense Force. In the moment when I was first watching it, because keep in mind I've never seen Gurren Lagann in my life, never once. I did think his approach was extremely selfish, because on the first watch, we're seeing him essentially withholding information from the Supreme Commander Shimon. And his intention of withholding this information is, Shimon can't handle it. I'll handle it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll figure out all these situations. I'll get the intel from the original Spiral King, Lord Genome. I'll be the one behind the scenes making sure everything goes smooth. Right? And Shimon's like, I don't really care about any of this stuff, man. I just want to I just want to fight, man. It's like, I'm a digger. This is what I am. I'm not a government figure. This is crazy. But I know how to put my foot down when necessary, right? And so I think we got to a stage in the story where Shimon's ego was clashing with the needs of the people, right? Was clashing with the needs of the people. And Roshu's in a position where he knew how to feed those needs of the people. Now, we see him act in what he thinks is the right course of action. We see him condemn Simon to die, but it is not an instant execution, right? He's put into a prison to await execution at some point, right? Now, when I saw that, my first thought was, he's stalling for time, right? He's condemning Simon in front of the public and saying, this person is the reason why your homes were destroyed. This person is the reason why your areas are on fire. And he's not incorrect in the statement. They watched Gurren Lagann attack these massive robot. They watched the damage reverberate from the attack and destroy their living quarters. Like, they watched it happen. They can't hide the reality of who pilots Lagann, right? It's not a secret. So in this moment, Rosu either says, well, somebody has to take the fall. That's an accurate statement. He can't just say, don't worry about it. Everything will work. That's not true. The people would have rioted. It would have been a coup d'etat, period, from someone else, if not him, right? He said, I'll be the bad guy in a situation. I'll take the fall. I want to make sure that Shimon is in a cell away from the people, not being mistreated in any way. We'll take care of him, make sure he's good, but he can't be around right now. Too volatile, right? I do think the statement of destroying the gunman was a little crazy. I think that was a little over the line, but I think he's trying to destroy symbols of the old regime and say, hey, I'm the guy in charge now. The old stuff that we did before, we don't really need. Like, I got things figured out. As it turns out, he, in fact, did not have things figured out, which is an unfortunate series of events. But I don't think he acted without the interest of the people in mind. I think he was doing what he thought was the right thing. And when the right thing was hard, like we saw much later in the story, he was very internally conflicted by his own choices. Like, it wasn't an easy decision that he landed on. He was plagued by it in a sense, because I genuinely feel like he cares for Shimon and the rest of Team Lagann, Gurren, I mean. And I think for him, it became a what's more important debate. Is it more important to just hook my friends up, or is it more important that humanity survives? What's more important? And I think for him, he said, while I love these people, humanity survival is the more important thing. And this sucks. This is really bad, but I have to pick this. And they were like, we need to leave at a certain time, or like things are gonna, or we're all out of here, right? Like, humanity's done if we don't leave by this time. And he said, I didn't want to leave without bringing more people on the board. We can fit more people on the ship, but we're out of time. We have to go. He was forced to make a lot of very challenging decisions. And he's not Shimon, right? Shimon says, I don't want to pick. Give me both. Many times in the story, he's done that. He said, I want to pick. Give me both. We're going to make both work. He has the mental fortitude to do things that are not possible consistently. Whereas Rosu doesn't have that mentality. He's just a guy.
Rosu's greatest weakness is Rosu thought he was in a Gundam TV show, but he was actually in Gurren Lagann. He just wasn't aware. He thought the show was much more serious, and hey, What can you do?
He's like, well, what about the
What can you
politics?
do? I don't hate him though. I don't hate him in retrospect. In retrospect, I don't hate him. In the moment, I was a little bit like, "You going a little too far, bro." But like when I look backwards, I'm like, I kind of get it, and I also get why Simone forgave him. It all adds up.
Yeah, for me, I'm neither like a defender nor I guess offender of Rosu, because I get his thinking. You know what I mean? The base thinking is, I have to be the guy. He's kind of like Cecil from Invincible. You know what I mean? Where it's just I have to be the guy who makes the hard choices.
It's a good comparison. Yeah.
We could be the good guys, or we could be the guys who actually get stuff done. And his getting stuff done is about saving humanity. So I do get why, like, I do get that setting, I guess, quote unquote, change in personality. I wouldn't say change personality, but that thought process is so contrasting with how he was in the first part. But like Gray said, there are like moments where I'm just like, yo, but you're kind of going a bit too far with this. You're going like a bit too nuts. I get it. You want to show the people that you're serious, that you want to take things down, but like, bruh, Citizen Sigma to death off rip, or threatening to destroy the Lagann. It's kind of like you're doing a bit much, bro. Calm down.
When he has like girls in the pilot seat with bombs just so Simo didn't get away, bro.
You holding
out
your
of
girl
pocket
hostage is crazy.
I was
bro.
doing too
That was
much.
a little OD. I was a little OD. I ain't gonna lie.
She went through with it.
I'm just saying, if you put like half of that thinking power into like, coming with a plan defeating the anti-spirals,
he did his best. He worked with Ron, and they came up with a way to contain the explosions, and like there were decisions that he was like, we need something that does this, and then Ron was like, let me figure out something that would achieve that objective. Like, he wasn't a dummy. I'm gonna make sure we're clear on that piece too. Like, I don't want to sell the man short.
Yeah, he was competent.
He was an intelligent politician.
And when he knew his time was up, he knew it was up, right?
Yeah.
when like after like the whole moon battle, and he saw, he figured, oh, this is how it works. He was like, damn, I guess I was wrong. I guess
time to go.
So time to log out. So I'll give him that. He didn't try to hold on to power, right? And thankfully, Simon was able to bring him back and whatnot. And it does appear in the the epilogue, he did make a good leader. He became president instead of Supreme Commander, and whatnot. And so I don't hate Rosu. But there was a period of time I was like, dang.
Oh yeah, I can see But yeah, my like whole thing before going into it was like, man, I'm glad. It's cool to see how everyone kind of evolved. Simon becoming such a more capable leader, Yoko leading the kids, Varro becoming a more selfless beast man, and Rosu being a lame ass Nick. But it's cool to see. It's very cool to see the evolution of like everyone in the series all around. But I get it.
Okay, I got.
The
kids are interesting.
Yeah.
That grew up. Pilots.
From his village.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. I'm glad they were still around even during the show. I thought they'd just be like secondary characters that probably just like left alone and never grew to do anything.
Yeah, they really become, especially what's his name, Jimmy. He really becomes like the next Simon in a way, where there's all these people.
He gets the core drill, doesn't he?
Yeah.
What is it? Who's that character from Naruto?
Konkuro? No,
Konohamaru? Yeah.
Where it's just like he's next up, or he has the potential to be, next up. You know what I mean? Yeah. See, I just pointed directly at him. But
next.
But and also his little his girl, or was that sister or his girlfriend or friend or whatever. His
It's just a friend, I think,
Yeah.
from the
Unclear.
village. Unclear. I didn't
Best
sense any
buds.
romantic energy though. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, that's it. But she was also pretty good too, and I liked how they worked in tandem together. With her being the more serious one of the bunch, and him being the more like hot-headed. I want to go to battle, and I want to be like the grown-ups. I want to want to get in there and
Yeah.
go out and blaze the glory too. It's just like, hey, bro, the time will come, just not now.
And how can we forget Catan the goat?
Oh yeah, Kitan is
Great man. Can we? All right. This is a character discussion, right? We're talking about the characters.
Yeah, we're just talking about characters.
This is mean. I'm sorry, guys. I gotta say it though.
Mhm.
All of Yoko's exes.
Yep,
True.
they all died.
All of Yoko's exes.
They call it the Yoko Littner kiss of death.
Like, bruh. Like, graveyard. Her ex is a graveyard, man. It's sick. It's sick, bro. I'm like, man, good thing Simone dodged that bullet, because that just could have been him. No, could have been him. But nah, like, I will say, I did like how the characters in the story were consistent throughout. We didn't get any wild changes of character. Even in moments where you're like, Rose, how could you? But when you look back at the first time we saw him, you're like, oh, I get how you could. You were a stickler for rules in the village. You tried to enforce things that no one else was willing to enforce in the village because you felt like that was the right thing to do. And in your mind, you were unable to see any alternatives to the path that you felt extremely strongly about. And then, as you got older and you in your mind had determined what you thought was the correct path, you once again couldn't see any other path other than the linear path that you felt was the right thing to do. And anybody who did anything different, well, you deserve to be ousted. Like that's just the way, that's the way Rosu was wired. And he couldn't change it. And I even think, and I don't know, other people's views on the story, because like I said, it's my first time watching it. I've only have the perspective of watching it, a single view. I believe that part of Rosu's internal battle is, how do I see any other path but the one I've determined to go down? Even when I feel like the path is wrong, how do I divert? I have no idea how to divert, and it's breaking me. It's mentally breaking me. And it was interesting because who's the leader of the Black siblings?
Catan.
Kitan.
I remember that scene where Katan's just like he wants to swing on him, and Ross was dodging everything, right? He's just like, ooh, wee, ba, wee. And his sister is just like, you don't understand how much he's gone through. And like at that point in the story, neither do we. So we're just like, that's your man, and you just trying to ride for him, but he's kind of a jerk. He's kind of a dork. And he's ruined so many things at this point in the story that I feel no sympathy for him. And they wrote it that way on purpose. They wrote it in a way where she knows a little bit more. We know nothing. Rosu knows a lot about what he internally is going through, but he needs to put on a strong face for everyone. And as we find out more as the story goes on, where Simone gets the punch, he says, "Grit your teeth," and I'm like, yeah, another grit your teeth moment. Every time feels good. But same intention, right? It's a punch that's done with love, because I love this person and they have lost their way, and because they've lost their way, they're trapped in their own mind. And I need to snap them out of it and bring them back to reality. That way we can figure things out together. And it's exactly what Kamina did for him. When he couldn't get the ship under his control because he was in his own mind, right? He was obsessed with the Yoko situation. He couldn't see things clearly. He was losing it. And Kamina said, let's snap out of it. What are you doing, right? And he did. He did snap out of it. And in the same way, Rasu snapped out of his internal spiral, so to speak, and was able to see things for what they are. I love the characters. I thought that purely based on who the characters are, we simply saw them become more. And the characters that were introduced, I mean, I'll be honest, bro. Buta being
Yo,
a
Buddha.
main figure was my. All right, that was like, I was like, this is really cool. I actually was really happy with that because Buta was in the village, OG character, and we just felt like, oh, like he's just like
Animal
a
sidekick.
sidekick figure,
Yeah.
right? Like he doesn't actually hold any real weight. And then when we saw him on the ship with little splashes of the spiral sparking off, I was like, what's cooking right now? Like, what's really going on? And then he made it into the ship. He was talking to Vero, and he makes it in the ship, and his tail is doing the spiral, and he's generating spiral energy. I'm just like, yeah, this is a story written with a lot of thought and care. And each character, even characters that you don't think are that important, all hold an enormous amount of weight for the progression of the story. Extremely impressive writing here. I'm actually really impressed with how consistent things felt. Not because sometimes it's hard. It's hard to make all these characters in the story not have a dramatic shift for the purpose of moving a plot forward. Not many story writers can do that. Oda from One Piece also is another writer that I'm impressed that does that very well. Although he does it with a pretty extreme number of characters.
And
He makes
he's
sure that
working
the
on a
characters
much longer time scale.
much longer time scale, and somehow same thing, right? I'm equally as impressed. He makes sure that all the characters are consistent, even when they're younger, when they're older, when like everything matches, everything lines up. Same thing here. All the characters feel really good. They all line up. Because of that, because it's not a shift, and because the character's progression aids the story instead of hurting the story, and we didn't make sacrifices to make the story work, but everything still aligns really smoothly for the character development. I personally feel like the characters here are a 5.
I'd agree. I think it's a 5 for me as well. And I'll say to piggyback of Gray's point, nothing is wasted. Right? Every character, every plot point, everything, nothing is left on the table, kind of like over. There's no point where you say, oh, well, what happened to that guy? Right? None of that. Everything is put to use, and I would say pretty good use. So it is a 5 for me as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
go
think
around
I
just
think I'll
be
also go with a
5
5.
here as well. Yeah.
It really, really comes together like such an incredible way. But in order to have good characters, turns out you need good writing. So we will move on to our third category, writing and dialogue. And I'll say the show, spoiler, very well written. Everything comes together very well, as I brought up with like episode 5 kind of being a blueprint for the series. It weaves together themes so well. Especially, I would want to point out the theme of spiral power as like a concept is done so beautifully, because they talk a lot about spiral power in the first half, but you don't know what it is, right?
Yeah.
But when they explain it in the second half and you get the kind of thing, I love how it ties into it, into both like a connection to what we perceive as reality and the reality of the show, of spiral power being part of the galaxy, right? Because galaxy is a universe, it's like a spiral, but it's also when they talk about in the helical DNA, your structure of your DNA is also a spiral, and connecting those two things, and saying that is just like a font. Basically, what makes you human makes you part of the universe, and those two things gives you an infinite potential, right? And that's kind of the thesis of the entire show, is that every person has infinite potential to create, to do things, to change, to evolve. And I think that's such a really like an amazing thing, and it's brought out so well in the show. And there's so many great speeches and lines and moments in the show. They're so incredibly done. I like I think Simone's speech when he talks specifically about the spiral and how it's about building off and honoring those who have fallen, right, in the past, but also working towards the future and for those who have come ahead of us. And It's a really great ethos, and I think the show's writing is so incredible.
Yeah.
I will give it a 5.
Yeah, nah, I hear you. It's this writing in the show is definitely like it's top tier. I think the very prevalent theme of this of just the show in general, but you see it even further here, is that theme of having to keep going forward, no matter what. You know, having the will to keep pushing through, to keep going to your goal. You know what I mean? Like a drill or like a spiral.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you said, you know, the show highlights that everyone has potential, and all it's all about how you grasp it, how you go about and getting that. And that's why Simone, like having I said about Simone, the most important thing about Simone is that how he keeps digging forward. That Simone could really really represent like anyone, you know, who just needs to push forward to get to the goal that they want to have. The dialogue in this is just extremely well done, to the point where not only is our main crew like pushing forward through all the tribulations and through all the obstacles and whatnot, they are very steadfast in their choices of pushing forward, and in the sense that like when we got to that scene where Nina disappears, and you know Jimmy is like, hey, why don't we bring her back? In fact, you know, not even just bring her back, let's bring back everybody, you know what I mean, who passed away. And it's at that moment, and Simon, I'm just gonna paraphrase what he says, but he pretty much says no, you know, because the old generation would just get into the way of the new generation. And that's very like impactful because they've made their imprint on the world. They've made their stand. Like you could see how their choices have impacted people, even in like the epilogue where Yoko, like I mentioned earlier, Yoko's teaching kids, and the Team Gurren has kind of expanded into into this bigger mech
Big entity, yeah.
army.
Organization.
Yeah. One. So what I'm trying to say is, you know, the house prices in our country has like exploded. The economy
Yeah.
has kind of
It's time for the old generation to step aside, is what you're saying.
create a path for the new.
In fact, I
Specifically,
believe what you're saying is anybody over the age of 30 should not be in government.
exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know. I'm glad we came to this conclusion.
But yeah, no, I think the writing and dialogue of 5. I think the key moments, just what this part of the season symbolizes, is really resonates with me a lot. Yeah, I give it a 5.
Yeah. Writing, I'd actually give it a 5. It's like so fun just to listen to what they say. Everything seems so seamless, and the growth of even Simone as like a character, from going from being very, very whiny and not very struggling and fearful, more and more out there, and being just the character growth of him, and just being more out there and being fearless. It was very well done, well written, and the way he talks and the performance by Yuri Lowenthal. I hope I said his last name right, but it's awesome. So it's even makes things a lot more better.
That
Yeah.
was your Elon fall, wasn't it? Now
Yeah.
that you said it, it's all like clicking and like, oh yeah, he does sound like Spider-Man.
It's like, that's Spider-Man.
Yep.
Notice it. Yeah, I noticed it when like I forgot, like I think like 2 episodes after the time skip, I was like, wait a minute, that's Spider-Man. Voice actors, gotta love them better than actual actors. Anyways, yeah, I think everyone has said so much about like the themes and all of it, and how many different metaphors and are done in the writing and the dialogue, that it's well crafted and well done, and just very, very well, just a very well done script for the whole series.
Do you have a number attached?
I think so.
505.
5 of 5. Right, we're 5ing it up. Grey, What is your opinion on the writing?
On the writing, it's interesting. It's interesting. I felt like the writing was very unique. That was very unique because I think you mentioned this when we were talking about characters. Nothing felt wasted. There are moments in the story that reference things that happen like later, sometimes a little bit later, sometimes much later. And when I think about Nia's story arc, right, I think it's a beautiful illustration of the amount of care given to the writing here, right? Because in the first half of Gurren Lagann, she's a disgraced princess, is the perspective that we have of Nia, that has a strong level of emotional fortitude. She stands up to generals in her father's army. She has a desire to discuss what's gone on with her father because she believes him to be a man of righteousness and justice. Despite what others may say or feel about him, she feels like he wouldn't do anything that goes against, her views of him. She earns the trust of the crew, and she shows herself to be an ally of Team Daiguren. And then in the second half, pretty early on, we see that Simone's feelings for her culminated in him seeking a long-term connection with her. And when she takes on her role as messenger of the anti-spiral, at first, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna pretend. It was a lot for me, man. I was like, oh, it sucks, bro. Like, of all the things that could happen to this guy right now, like, he's a supreme commander. Town's being destroyed. He's being wrongly accused of things. And the girl that he fell in love with, this is the second girl he fell in love with. First girl, it was his bros. And he just had to eat it. He had no choice. Second girl, all of a sudden, like, she turns
She's
out
a
to be
surfer.
literally. Yeah, no, that's facts, bro. Harbinger of doom, Here comes Galactus type of energy. It was like, I was like, oh, this is not great, man. This is a bad situation. But Simone, you know what's funny? Watching Simone's interactions with Nia in a way reminded me of, if you're familiar with Star Wars, reminded me of Luke's interaction with Darth Vader, in that the world during this stage viewed Nia as a villain at that stage, right? Because we're like, she betrayed the human race. She wants us all to die. She's evil, right? But Simone was like, nah, like, I see something different from her than what y'all are seeing. In the same way that Luke saw something different from Vader than what everyone in the galaxy was seeing. And in the same way that Luke was right, eventually. Sorry, spoil it if you haven't watched Star Wars yet.
Thank you for the consideration.
Spoiler warning, guys. Vader's not as bad as you think he is. Neither was Nia, like, so we're gonna have to put a spoiler warning on this episode. If you haven't watched Star Wars, skip Gray's take.
I was just about to watch that.
How unfortunate for you. How unfortunate for you. But nah, man, like, Nia's character arc was really interesting, and I loved how they did a really good job of making her feel like, ooh, she's like evil and mysterious. Like, costume change, the flowers in her eye have a darker tone now, like a lot of small elements. And then we got to a point in the story where she is the only thing in between Gurren Lagann and one of those spiral drive docks for him to put his drill into. And she technically had the capability in that space to protect the anti-spiral. And instead of allowing herself to genuinely guard it, she stepped to the side and let Simone kind of break to the next layer, so to speak. And he vowed to come find her. And in that moment, we see that Nia actually was crying for help. in a lot of those moments. And we may not have noticed it as viewers because we have a limited perspective while we're viewing the content based on what we can see. But Simone could look deeper. That's why he's Simone the Digger. He looks deep, you know? And I feel like there was moments like that of elements of her appearing at certain times, and we didn't really think of it too much. But like, it doesn't matter why she's here. She's not here to give encouragement. She's a harbinger of despair, because that's what the anti-spiral is supposed to do. It's supposed to show up in moments where you think you have hope and then make you feel like, oh no, there's nothing I can do to get out of this situation. Or this is something I should be able to work through. Oh, these odds have become far more than I was expecting, right? And I think even in that, right, like the anti-spiral's timing in certain moments was just exceptional, because it does give you a sense of, oh, we're about to what? There's an ocean in space?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Oh yeah, that entire sequence was crazy.
It's crazy, bro. I can't deny it. It was exceptionally written, very well thought out, and I was looking for holes. I was determined to find them. I was like, where's a point in the story where the writing fails? Is there a point where like I'm looking at it and I'm like, this don't add up. This isn't. It doesn't make sense. I couldn't find one. Like everything clicked. Everything clicked. I begrudgingly have no choice but to give the writing a 5.
Nice. We love to see it.
Actually,
folks. We love to see it.
I did realize there is a flaw with this part.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, give it to us.
Unfortunately, Kamina is dead, so I have to rate this writing like.
Oh yeah, yeah. The Japanese soldier still fighting after 27 years. You know, bit.
But yeah, the writing is pretty perfect.
Can we talk about Kamina for a moment?
Oh yeah, in his during the
his appearance.
I forget what it's called, but yeah, when everyone's put in their kind of like own personal universe.
Yeah.
Yes, and he becomes the factor that the anti-spiral didn't bank on, literally breaking Simone out of his own cage.
Yeah.
And I loved the sequence of Simone, adult Simone, and Kamina talking with each other and kind of having that connection man to man. And even like Kamina talking to a young Simone in this alternate reality where Kamina is a coward and a scammer. And
that was crazy.
I loved it. And I feel like they're like, hey, if things were different, this is how you could have turned out. And the Kamina from Simone's original universe was the opposite of that, like a polar opposite. And it went to show how Simone feels so strongly in his own code. And we got to a point of Kamina like, did you forget like what your drill is meant to do? And like the scene where Kamina is driving his face into the ground, but it's not really Kamina. One could even say it was the anti-spiral attempting to create a fantasy world that aligned with his own personal views of how humanity should be, right? And Simone was not having it. And I loved it. I said, this elevates that writing. And that reunion, I think, is special for the viewer because we haven't seen Kamina really connect with Simone since the first half. And I think that reconnection was important to move the story along. I know you were trying to prove a point, and I may have derailed your point, but I just had to point that out because I was actually really excited to see Kamina again in the story because I thought we weren't going to see him except in flashbacks. So that was a really cool moment.
Oh yeah, no, I like Kamina's appearance in this part. He gives like you said, he gives Simone the boost to keep going. You know what I mean? And ironically, he's the one thing that the universe didn't account for. And even that, just whether it's through just a memory of, whether it be through Simone's memory, or maybe that it was some spiral action at play there. his manifestation, talking to Simone and reaching through to him and reminding Simone that this is who you are. You know, you surpassed me. All this is it was a great scene to see, and how once and because Simone was able to break away, that allowed other people to break away from their delusions as well, and allowed them to form and gain their spiral energy to form the Tenga Toppa Gurren Lagann.
I do like speaking of their fantasies. I do like the different fantasies, like the kids, Jimmy and Gimmy's fantasy is like they're working like in a bakery, and I think Lyron and the rest of the crew is like they're like repair crew on like a radio tower or something.
Yeah.
Which I not necessarily anticipate. And Yoko's is like she's like a superstar bounty hunter,
Yeah,
you know, kind of thing. I think those are and V-Rolls, where he just
V-Rolls,
wants like a family, you know.
his daughter and wife, but you know, wake up to
That
reality.
was the saddest.
Yeah, that was pretty sad, bro.
But you know,
I ain't gonna lie. I was like, dang,
they hold
man.
viral on it, but hey, you know, maybe.
As far as I know, the Beastmen, I mean, they're created. They don't reproduce or anything. You don't
They
have,
talked
like,
about it.
families like
They
that.
can't
Yeah.
have kids.
They can't have kids, so it
It's
was like his
impossible.
thing.
They have
was
no
just that.
spiral power.
Yeah.
So like they can't
Yeah.
do the thing.
But
So we
ironically
have
enough,
fives across the board.
oh yeah,
Oop.
yeah. Okay, yeah, I'm like, but ironically enough, you know, he can't create a family with his own. He found a new family with Tenga Toppa.
Oh,
It's true.
He's also going to be around forever.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
literally
yeah.
can't die.
Yeah,
You know,
oh yeah.
for better or worse.
Let's just hope he doesn't go the immortal route, you know.
Yeah. Doesn't crash out at some
1,000
point.
years.
All right, so I think we all have our scores for writing. Let's move on to X Factor, right? What makes something unique? So I'm not going to give you my score, just a 5, because I want to use this opportunity to give my personal story of how Gurren Lagann changed the trajectory of my life, right? It actually connected me to my co-host, GreyTheSamurai, and is actually probably responsible for this podcast in a weird, winding path. So we have to go back, right, to about like 2013, 2014. I watched Gurren Lagann, and like any great 17-year-old watching an anime, it becomes my personality. And becomes like, you know, the thing that I'm like obsessed with. I would say between Gurren Lagann and JoJo were probably like my two biggest like obsessions during that time, right? I was a huge, massive fan of it, loved it, and whatnot. Now, this ties directly into the vector which I first met Grey in, and that is because Gurren Lagann, for better or worse, got me to play a little indie game called League of Legends. Now, you're wondering, what's the connection?
Yeah.
So in their effort of my other friends that I knew before this to convince me to play League of Legends, were showing me some of the skins. And Rumble, right, one of the characters in League of Legends who drives his own kind of like rinky dink mech, has a legendary like skin with all the bells and whistles, right, called Super Galaxy Rumble. And it is top to bottom a Gurren Lagann reference, right?
Yeah,
His
sure.
attacks become drills, you know, he has like he has entire new voice lines. He talks about like piercing the heavens and all the other stuff.
His shades are pointed.
Shades are pointed. Like it becomes a direct like Gurren Lagann reference. And I thought that was so cool. I was like, maybe this League of Legends thing has something, right? Now, that might have been a mistake, but for better or worse, I got deep into League of Legends circa 2015, right? Or 20 probably end of 2014 into 2015, right? And I played with my friends, right? You know, Gadgets, who made the theme for this podcast.
Shout out to Gadgets.
Shout out to Gadgets. Me and him like ran, you know, League of Legends, ton of it, right? Another friend, we had Joe, right? Played tons of it, right? And eventually, right, in that networking, I met the other people that they played League of Legends with, and that was Grey, the Samurai. And we played League of Legends together, and, like, you know, and we formed like a really great group, and we started talking. I remember very distinctly when we first got to know each other and we played more often. Gray believed I was white from the way I talked, because I remember when I think I probably said certain words or whatever, and Gray did a little check. I'm like, wait a second, you know, like what's going on here? I was like, Gray, I am a black man. I am allowed to say that.
Context clues.
And over time, that like
man,
online
great.
friendship became a pretty deep IRL friendship, and, you know, since then we've been like, you know, we traveled together, and in fact, it was our travels, right, specifically when we went to DreamCon this year, is where like I came up with the idea to do a media podcast, right, called Peak of Fiction. It was still like I did a lot of revisions till we got to the point we are today. But this show and this reaching out and this kind of thing would not exist if not for the friendship that was through League of Legends, which was because of a skin in League of Legends connected to Gurren Lagann, and I liked the show so much that it convinced me to play that accursed game. So
in essence, thank you, League of
Accursed,
Legends.
yeah.
yes.
Yeah,
So Gurren Lagann, in a way, has changed, permanently altered the trajectory of my life to the point that I am talking to you today with these people. Literally would not happen without Gurren Lagann. So I feel like we've come like full circle.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're talking about uniqueness and influence, and this is how Gurren Lagann influenced me to make the podcast that you are listening to right now.
Yeah.
You
Giant
know,
X
and that
Factor.
is why Giant X Factor, a 5 for me.
Yeah.
It's crazy how things
Oh,
connect.
my.
But
It is crazy how things connect.
It is so crazy.
How can I top this
Pretty
analysis
impressive.
with that?
it's
That's
actually
awesome. I love
even
that.
crazier that today's podcast is actually sponsored by Legends of Runeterra. Have you been?
Oh, man, if only. If this somehow ends, okay, if we somehow get to a point where we are doing like League of Legends like ads,
Oh
then
my God,
we have
bro.
we truly gone full circle.
Full
But I-
circle, too. It says play for free underneath our video.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, no.
But I'd have to do some like ethical quandaries, because I don't know. I feel like that's like selling like cigarettes to children.
Cigarettes to children? League of Legends.
Legends, yeah, pretty. You know,
I'm so happy I broke the habit. I'm like 2 years clean. You know, I need a sobriety coin.
But yeah. it means really Legends, yeah.
But
I used to be one of you people until I broke free. I gotta stop. That's really funny. Wow, that's great. Oh, that's great.
but yeah, no, but yeah. Going into my X Factor, you know, I'm not gonna spend too much time on it because I think a lot of things I said last week kind of apply to this. I gave it a 5 last week, and after rewatching the second part, it's still a 5 for me again. I really want to point out the soundtrack. Roll Fight the Power is a really good.
And specifically, Libera Me from Hell?
Which one is that one again?
No, that's the Row Fight the Power, but with the orchestra.
Oh, yeah.
Background.
Yes.
Attached.
Yeah. Every time I get that piano, bro, like, and it played a lot more times, not a lot more times, but it played a bit more times than I remembered. Like, I only remembered it being played at, like, I want to say, like, that end battle, but when it played for, like, Keaton, bro, I was like, oh, that's great. Rewatching that with that soundtrack really brought me back to the old days. When I first watched it, I was just obsessed with Soryo Days. And speaking of Soryo Days, yeah, Soryo Days playing at like the penultimate fight, the universe is on the line. It's great stuff. It's great stuff. I'm going to go a
We
bit
love
further.
it when an OP plays during the fight.
Oh yeah. It is It does it really well. That's how you know your anime's peak, bro. You gotta play you gotta do something with the OP in the last episode. All right, I'll get a bit more into it during the hype section, but yeah, like as far as like looks go, we already went into the visuals, but even how like they fight, like I still remember how crazy it was when I first saw it, when they were like literally throwing galaxies at each other, and like they throw between Tangatopa and Anti-Spiral, like Anti-Spiral's throwing like whole like universes and galaxies, and they're getting stuck into other galaxies like they're like shrunken. It's just like, oh, this is the level of like this is the level of like power that both of these are at. Like this started with them digging it started with them digging out of a hole, fighting like 8-foot beastmen, bro.
The hand drill, bro. He's crushing it.
And now we're literally like fighting on a universal, multiversal scale. It's crazy. It's crazy. And yeah, everything about this, like to the point that where like everyone on Earth's like watching the battle from up above, all their hopes on Gurren Lagann, as Simone and everyone else is like fighting for the future. I mess with it. I mess with it a lot. I have to give it a 5. This is we've said it before, but this is a very unique anime in terms of what it does, and it's been referenced a bunch. And I don't know if any. Now, granted, I'm not big into the mecha anime. Not that because I don't like it or anything, but because I just haven't seen a whole lot. But of the mecha ones I've seen, this one definitely is. It's a staple. It's a staple. Like if you want to get into mecha or I believe they call it like super robot type shows, this is definitely pick Gurren Lagann up. It's you won't be disappointed.
Yeah. I would say specifically before the mecha fans like come out to fight. Yeah, Super Robo. We're talking about Super Robo. Mecha is a bit different and like probably a little more grounded and realistic, quote unquote.
I don't know, man. Mega's XLR might be my. No, I'm playing. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding.
Oh, is that the one with the pickup
don't
truck
underestimate
on top of the...
yeah. Or like Big O. Big O is pretty great.
Yeah. The genre is enormous, man. It's a giant genre. It's funny because I do enjoy a good mech anime, but a lot of the ones that I've seen are very serious. Shout out to Iron Blooded Orphans. Very serious. It's good. It's not for the faint of heart. Doesn't have a ton of feel good moments in it. This one felt good. I would go so far as to say that is one of the biggest X factors in Tengatop and Gurren Lagann is the way that it makes the viewer feel. They do a really good job.
Yeah.
It's Beto's favorite genre, folks. Hopecore.
Of course.
Yeah. It's almost comical in certain moments because the whole intention of the anti-spiral was to break the will of the spiral races, and throughout the series we can see attempts to do so from episode 1, right? The leader in the village is saying there's no way you will get out of this village. This is all that there is. This is all that there ever was. This is all that there ever will be. And Simone has such a limited worldview. He's just like, man, like my family died in this cavern and I'm going to die in this cavern and there is no way out. And I love how Kamina's boundless optimism and his just mentality of there's no way I could possibly lose. Like, don't you know who the hell I am type of mentality. Like it bled into Simone's personality. It bled into all of Team Daiguren's personality because we see them have that moment when we get the Tengatoppa version of Gurren Lagann. That is, as Supa O mentioned earlier, quite literally fighting at a scale that we have not seen in many other anime. It actually takes the power scaling conversation and power drills it into the ground. It's absolutely insane. But yeah, I think when I see something like this, I think the X factor is how hopeful it feels, how positive it feels, how good it feels, how inspirational it can feel. I can see a 15-year-old bait watching something like this and being like, yeah, my drill will pierce the heavens.
You're damn
And kind
straight.
of having, yeah, like it adds up, right? Like I can see someone watching something like this and being as inspired by Kamina as the characters in the show were, right? And even in your real world environment, taking that inspiration and using it to achieve great things. Because to an extent, something that does limit human potential is their belief that they can't achieve, right? That they can't do, or that it's impossible, or certain things are out of their scope. But the reality is that many people have achieved things that seemed out of scope because they simply believed they could, and it just like plowed ahead and did it. And I do enjoy a story that does have real world value. And I feel like that is a huge X factor that's present in Gurren Lagann. So yeah, for me, the X factor at no point wanes. The inspiration that we're feeling from the characters, even in the lowest moments of despair in the story, where one of the main characters dies and it shifts the energy. Nia's introduction in the story injects a sense of hope and joy back into the story after we had that emotional low. And I was impressed with the story throughout, right? At no point it felt unrealistic in terms of the way that the characters behaved, and it felt really consistent. Beautiful story, great ending. It's a really good feel-good anime. So I want an anime that makes me feel good. I'm tired of things that just feel depressing and sad all the time. The anti-spiral would have wanted it to feel depressing and sad, but the team in charge that didn't do an amazing job throughout the story of making you feel like anything's possible. And for that reason, the X factor for me is also 5.
All right.
5 of 5ers.
5 of 5ers.
Yeah.
All right. Everyone have their points out for X Factor?
Yep.
We're good? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So now to the last category, right? Another slam dunk for Gurren Lagann as we I think we'll breeze through this one. Hype moments in Aura. I think it's an easy 5 because wow, the hype moments in Aura. Huh. They go crazy in this last part. I mean, kind of everything. I mean, the introduction to the new villains, to the amazing space battles, to like the sacrifices, specifically when when Catan goes down, right? That's something I want to highlight. And he is flying through this intense gravity field, right? His first part of his mech blows up, and it's kind of like oh no, what do we do? But then his original gunman still flies through, right? And he has activated his spiral power. And you look at his eyes, and they are spiraled up, right? And that drill that he had, right, which was kind of broken down, not only restores itself, grows bigger, right? And he does his ultimate King Catan thing, and he bursts through. And as explosions developing, and when it goes in that kind of like whiteout, kind of like sketch thing as it's going down. And his last line was like, huh. So this is spiral power. Not bad. As he washes over him. Incredible. And there's like at least like 5 of those moments in the last like few episodes. It's off the charts. It's like a 5 for me.
Yeah. No, I said it last week and I'll say it again now, Let's go home, boy. Let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
This is an easy 5. And I'm just gonna bring up my favorite scene. It was in that penultimate fight with the anti-spiral, and they're clashing, and they're in their Super Tenga top of Gurren Lagann, and he's flying towards him, and the anti-spiral, shoots some things to stop him. But then, like, his mouth opens up, and then, like, a smaller Gurren Lagann pops out, and he's going, and then the anti-spiral stops that one, and that mouth opens up, and a smaller Gurren Lagann comes up, and then when we get to, like, the smallest Gurren Lagann, Lagann takes Gurren, rips the head off, and throws it, bro, and it goes, like, right through the spiral.
That was tough.
Cinema.
Truly peak.
Yeah, that was like my favorite moment in the series, bro. And there's a lot. There's a lot of like good. There's a lot of really high intense hype moments, or even just impact moments just between like characters and their reactions towards the events. Like I think Lord Genome sacrificing himself to give his power, to give the rest of his power to convert his power to us. Good Tangatapa was a pretty really good scene, especially because he was like a former antagonist, but now he's like, you know, I'm with you guys to the end. You know, keep going. Everything about that, enemies turning to friends. It's great. It's great. I think Tangatapa, Gurren Lagann is a very unique and high touch show because of that. And from that, I have to give it like a 5.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go next. I'm gonna keep this one short. I'm giving it a 5 as well. I'm gonna start there. I think the hype moments in the series are designed to give you the energy that the characters are feeling, and there are a lot of moments of like a lot of speeches throughout Gurren Lagann. A lot of speeches, a lot of motivational speeches. I'm watching just like, this is pretty good. Like this is like, and you know, that's typical shonen fare speeches. Many shonen characters in the world of shonen have a lot of speeches. I feel like this show had more than the typical shonen. I think this show had characters with a stronger sense of self than a lot of shonen that I've seen. I think the only main character that I've seen with a stronger sense of self might be Luffy.
They're definitely
Yeah.
comparable. They're definitely comparable.
Yeah, just like a really strong sense of like, this is what I want to do, and I'm just gonna plow ahead and do it, right?
I'd say vice versa. Just on the Luffy point, if Simone was the One Piece world, he'd have insane conquerors hockey.
Yeah,
And if Luffy was in the Gurren Lagann world, insane spiral power. Yeah.
Yeah, I was impressed, man. I was genuinely impressed. I'll be candid when I think of, and I still do. When I think of hype moments and I think of aura, I still think Super Saiyan is the most iconic iteration of that description. I think literally the Saiyan aura is where the word comes from in my brain. However, I will say that Gurren Lagann definitely does an amazing job of giving you a lot to be excited about and a lot to be hyped for. Moments where you might stand up or you might put your fists together. Like, yeah, like it's built to give you moments like that throughout the series. That second half, especially. There's a couple moments that are pretty exciting in the first half as well, but in the second half, it's almost like every 2 episodes. You're like, whoa, that's awesome. It's meant to really give you that excitement and that hype. So if you're looking for something that'll get you up out of your seat, this is a really good show that achieves that objective. So I'm giving it a 5.
All right.
I'll be quick with the mines as well. Hype moments in Aura. Every single episode. Every episode, there's something cool. Every episode, there's something to admire from every single shot. I give it a 5 out of 5 out of 5 to close it out.
All right. So we are in unprecedented territory, boys. This is the first and only perfect 5 episode that we've ever done. Okay, we have all unanimously agreed that every single category of the second half of Gurren Lagann is a 5. So, without further ado, we are giving the very first perfect 5 for this review. And if we average it, so double check, do my math, with the last score, which was, I believe, a 4 point... Was it 8?
I thought it was 8.
Yeah, I think it was 4.8. Is a 4.9 with an asterisk. So that is putting it neck and neck, if not a little bit above Spider-Verse. So
it's impressive.
I will say for the entire show is a 4.9. For the second half is a 5. It is officially Gurren Lagann peak fiction. Okay, it may be number 1. You never number 1, number 2, or it's very least tied for number 1 at the very top of the mountain. So it's good.
Yeah, congrats to Gurren Lagann, man.
Congrats
to Gurren Lagann. I'm genuinely impressed. Really great work.
We'll send the
All right,
creators an
so-
award in the mail.
Yes, so send an award, and also to Gurren Lagann creators, put out Blu-rays for the movies and
Please.
TV shows that are not $160. That would be awesome.
And merch. Give us merch.
Yeah, merch. All right, so now we've gone through our reviews. It is time, right, for the Hot Take Arena, where we bring our hottest takes of the week in order to discuss them, be shocked, irate, etc., etc. I think last time we started with Gray. I'll say, what is your hot take this week?
All right, but my hot take this week. This one's a pretty simple one. And I feel like I have accumulated enough clout to say this, and
Okay.
I think enough time has passed.
Right.
Gosh,
Well, we're already
I'm
starting.
nervous,
That time is
bro.
okay.
Oh,
All right.
my
boy.
Okay.
goodness.
All right,
Here we go.
Key and Peele show is better than the Chappelle show. Key and Peele show is better than the Chappelle show.
Please explain.
Their skits are
No
so
way,
much.
buddy.
Yeah,
Hold
I've
on.
got it. Look, and I like the Chappelle show. In fact, I'll go further. I think Chappelle is a way funnier comedian than Key and Peele. I think his stand up is a lot funnier than Key and Peele's stand up. But if we go in skit,
Okay.
if we're going skit for skit, Key and Peele is. I have Key and Peele in 5. Well, Key and Peele in 7. Key and Peele in 7. It's tough because Chappelle show is also pretty funny. I'm not gonna say it isn't. But my thing with
the Chappelle show has a
Some
bunch of skits.
iconic
It has
comedy.
the Rick James.
Yeah.
It has Clayton Bigsby.
As
Uh,
Prince.
it
has
does.
Prince. Like it got a lot of.
That's Black Bush.
Yeah.
Yeah, Black Bush. You're right. But
And,
Key and
and I
Peele,
like Key and Peele too.
Key and
Keep
Peele
going.
just.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna cut you
No,
off.
you're good. This is why the take is hot. You know what I mean? There's a lot. It wouldn't be a hot take if I didn't hear any resistance. You know what I mean? But no, I just feel that yes, that is true. Dave Chappelle has a lot of iconic skits, but so does Key and Peele. And not only that, I do like Chappelle's skits, and I think they are really good at being unapologetically black. You know what I mean? They are unapologetically, black community. But Key and Peele also does that and more. Like I think, like they're not just focusing on race skits. You know what I mean? They also have like it'll be like the weirdest idea, like Manly Tears, bro. Where it's just a skit about a guy who's like in this gang and like he's crying and one of them is just trying so hard not to laugh, and that like killed me. That genuinely like killed me the first time I've ever seen that, and it still kills me rewatching it. They have skits about rappers snitching on themselves by doing because they put lyrics that literally describe what the current scenario is doing and list all their crimes. And they're great at masquerading as other races. They're great at doing jokes that
That's true, yeah.
poke fun at different communities. You know what I mean? Like, bro, there's a skit where I'm just going off of my favorite skits right now. There's a skit of them just about this family who's trying to who wants to throw a party for their gay son or gay nephew, and they just try to know the etiquette of it all, but the family just so overtly just like like they're trying not to be offensive, but in their way of not being offensive, they're being very offensive. That like the line ridiculous. Is that a gay term? Like that has me dying, bro. I mean, that are still really funny, like the football names ones, or substitute teacher, or
Oh yeah, I was literally just about to say that East West Bowl is great.
It's so good.
The East West, because it's true. Every year it gets more and more true.
And front hand, backhand, bro. The range is so big. To me, it feels like prime YouTube skits with like a much bigger budget and with like actual more professional humor behind it. And I've always messed with their show because of that. And again, no hate to Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle is my favorite comedian. He's my favorite comedian. You know what I mean? But like, if we're going show for show, I personally would have to give it to Key and Peele. What I just makes me generally.
I
gotta
believe what
ask
you're
you a question.
saying. Okay.
I gotta ask him a question. I have to ask him a question.
Okay.
So, from what you described, it sounds like you're saying that Key and Peele have more range topically than Chappelle's show. Am I understanding that take correctly?
That is a factor. Yes.
Okay. Which do you feel like though is the funnier show? Specific, we're only talking about
Key and Peele.
laughs. Which show of the two gets the bigger laughs from you?
Key and Peele.
That's so interesting.
I think if I had to
wonder if
like
it's a generational
describe it,
thing.
I think that's two things. I think it is definitely a millennial Zoomer divide here.
Yeah.
I feel like Zoomers
might
are going to
be.
be more Key and Peele, millennials are going to be more Dave Chappelle. But also, I think if you had to do like a death battle term, right? When it comes for like the 30 minutes of time that the show is on, right? Both of them are pretty evenly matched. But if you had to do different categories, it'd be like stand up, Chappelle, skits, Key and Peele, this and that, and they're close. But I think what O is saying is, at the end of the day, Key and Peele has the edge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
In his
quoting
opinion.
most stuff from Key and Peele rather
interesting.
than Chappelle growing up, especially in high school. I was watching a lot more Key and Peele stuff.
Yeah.
But when you were in high school, Dave Chappelle's show was already done.
Yeah, so
That's
as a
the
Zoomer,
other thing.
There was nothing more to watch.
late
I am,
Zoomer.
Conclusion.
I'm in the middle as the eldest. I am the eldest Zoomer and the youngest millennial due to the time frame that I was born in. So I've seen both, and I think both are good. But I think it's because recency. I just remember more Key and Peele now, right? I remember some really great Dave Chappelle bits, but I just can't recall them as quickly. And also, I think it, on all platforms, be it Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, I'm always getting cycled like new
Key and Peele.
Key and Peele skits, and Dave Chappelle is just not like the same way. So that's also coloring like what I'm thinking about. I don't know. If I sat down and watched episode, I'm not sure because there's some great ones. Okay, like the wife swap one that Dave Chappelle did is incredible. The racial draft.
The racial draft is hilarious.
The racial draft is hilarious.
Yeah, and I like the
Jeopardy skits.
Jeopardy.
Yeah.
Which one was the Jeopardy one again?
he was like, why can't black people succeed? They gotta go out and vote. Like, that's the wrong answer. Oh man,
That's yeah.
Yeah, I even think about like his he would do a lot of spoofs of television shows, right? Like Dave Chappelle would do a spoof for like Making the Band. Where like he'd be like, I want you to go across town and get me Cambodian breast milk from a woman. And they were just like, where are we gonna get that from? I'm just like his skits were culturally relevant for the time it was on TV.
Yeah.
It was extremely time relevant comedy. So I do think Key and Peele are very funny. They have some absolutely hilarious skits that are also very relevant to the time frame we're in, right? Like the Barack Obama skits, which would only make sense if you were around for Barack Obama's presidency, right? I observed some of Dave Chappelle's brands of comedy, and I feel like for myself, I think because of the era I'm from, I just found his brand of humor very, very, very funny for what I was used to. However, I will say he was kind of the person to open the door for sketch comedy being so unfiltered. Stand up for a very long time was extremely unfiltered. Because it was stand up comedy and they could say whatever they wanted in stand up. But sketch comedy was on television, right? And on television, many instances they weren't allowed to do a lot of things, right? SNL and Living Color, like sketch comedy had a lot of like, this is far enough, but you can't go further than this. And Dave Chappelle said, what if I did? What if I decided to go as far as I wanted to go without any limitations? And what if I had a network that gave me a space to operate without anyone telling me this is too far? And he literally just kept pushing the envelope further and further and further and further. And it lended itself to absolutely painfully funny, hilarious moments. And I think Key and Peele, because they had, and it's funny, it was on the same network. They were like, well, if we're allowed to do the same thing, and it's the two of us, we've got a lot of ideas and a lot of thoughts and a lot of things that we could make fun of and share comedy about. Let's crack open the floodgates and just talk about everything that we want to on every genre, every type of comedy, every topic without limitation. I don't disagree that Key and Peele's range is bigger than Chappelle's. And I think the reason for that is because they have more time to speak candidly. I think Key and Peele were just on television longer than Chappelle's show. Somebody can fact check me on that, but I'm pretty sure that they just had more episodes in total than Chappelle should have had. And I don't even think I'd be off on this. I don't even think it's close. I think they just their program just went for a longer period of time. And I think the amount of ideas that they had are really interesting. I will say the range is pretty wide on Key and Peele's content, but comedy is extremely subjective. So if you think that they are funnier, I respect your opinion. I wonder how many people in the 35 to 30 to like older age bracket, how they feel about this question. Obviously, we're going to be posting this, so I'd love to hear the thoughts of the general public on O's take, but I want to hear based on age. So like if you're like, I agree with him, I am X years old, I'm really curious about that. I don't know if we can set up like a poll or something, but yeah, that's pretty good. That's a good one. That's a good take.
I'll
Good
see
take.
what I can do. All right, Beto, what's your take, Beto?
My take today is that, the grieving process is a long one. It never ends. But in the entertainment business, sometimes we got to wrap it up. We got to start something. We got to start production very soon. With that being said, even though the death of this actor really impacted the film very much, it shouldn't have gone that way. They should have recasted Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah.
After he
Truth nuke.
They should have recasted.
You're right.
The movie
100%.
Grief was the foundation. Grief was the theme. Grief was everything. They should have took 2 more years to they should have took a lot more years, and T'Challa did not have to die with Chadwick Boseman. It's sad, I understand, but we have to keep going.
In fact, I'll double down. I'm doubling that take. Okay.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm getting something off my chest. I'm getting something off your chest. I've held.
Yeah.
In here, okay, because maybe because of fear, it's time to face it. Okay, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever was kind of mid. Okay,
It was mid.
It was kind of mid. All
Sorry.
right, and I think we all were like, oh, this is very sad. It's very impactful. We all held back, but I'm here to say, it was mid, brother. Okay, it was. It had some really great moments.
He said it, not me.
It had some really great moments, but as a whole, it was a mid film, and I have not rewatched it. I have no desire to.
I disagree. Personally,
all right. I'm gonna let Super respond first because I have too many thoughts. Please go.
Ooh, okay.
So yeah, I disagree with the Wakanda Forever point. I personally really enjoyed the movie, and I do agree with the initial point of if someone dies, we shouldn't and they had a very impactful character. We shouldn't just we don't need to kill off that character as well. We could find another actor. We could still honor them, right? If we have projects that are underway and we have a certain script that needs to be scripted, we can just, to put it in layman's terms, we could just find, another actor. You know what I mean? But again, put a living memory, for the person who's died.
Yeah, honor them.
But the way Wakanda Forever did
just too much.
I liked it. I liked how they integrated the grief and the loss. I think it worked really well for the film. And they might have had like another original script before his death. But I think jury. Wait, what you said, Beto?
He did. Ryan Coogler had a script written out for Chadwick Boseman's T'Challa, where T'Challa and his son were going on an adventure. But as soon as they announced that he passed away, the whole script had to be changed.
Yeah, I mean that happens. You know, I mean,
That,
but the way that like that happens. You know, what I mean, but I like how, but
That
like I said,
happens.
you know, but the way how he got when they went from that and pivoted to what Wakanda Forever is, I think personally, Wakanda Forever is one of the more better versions of, killing off character to preserve an actor's legacy. And especially because this is more of a headcanon theory of mine, but like I'm pretty sure we're getting another, a T'Challa. You know what I mean?
we are.
In Secret.
Oh, we are for sure.
We definitely are, but it just didn't have to go this way.
I mean, they're talking about Damon Idris.
Yeah.
From Snowfall. Yes.
Okay,
there's chats, there's conversations, there's word,
rumors.
Wakanda forever. Okay, I'm just.
But I will say this. I'm tired of pretending that Shuri was good. Okay. I'm tired of it.
I mean, you don't like
Folks,
Black Woman, so that's no surprise. You know, I mean,
all right. You know what, Kat? It's fine. It's fine. Attack my character. Because you don't have a good argument.
I mean,
you can hide behind it all day, but I'm here to say, there's like the power gap between Chadwick Boseman and Letitia Wright is huge, and trying to get Shuri to fill that role as a main character was never going to really work. It was just never really going to function.
It was
in
a
my
big
opinion.
step to even try.
It was a big step, and she's just not as compelling as Black Panther ever was. Does not have the same sauce, I'm afraid.
So you didn't feel her rage when Namor destroyed Wakanda, and
it was alright.
Okay.
All right, bro. All right. I've had enough. I gotta say something. This is ridiculous.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
So
it's ridiculous. Okay.
Let me explain why I say it's ridiculous. I'm gonna break it down.
Mm-hmm.
When have we ever seen a Marvel character in the MCU recasted? Main character.
War Machine.
Never.
No.
Never. Colonel Rhodes, I would not define as a main character. I would call him a supporting character.
With Thunderbolt Ross, yeah.
Okay.
Thunderbolt Ross, I would call him a supporting character, not a main character, right? So, with that context, we look at the Robert Downey Jr., we look at the actor who plays the Incredible Hulk in the MCU,
Mark Ruffalo.
Ruffalo. Like, we look at these big figures, and Chadwick Boseman was one of those big figures. In the next Black Panther movie, it's just a different guy. It's just a different guy. Even if the story's really good, even if all the other characters are the same, and nobody brings up the fact that he looks different, and we just kind of like play it off. I don't think, even if the story is good, it will match the success of the original Black Panther. And you mentioned that Letitia Wright can't fill Chadwick's shoes. I agree, but I don't know many actors that can. No offense to other very skilled actors or very skilled actors, but when we say fill the shoes in a recast, now we're saying you're being expected to perform at the level of this actor who excelled in this role over a course of multiple films and was hand selected by Coogler for the role and then operated in that role at an extremely high level. Chadwick is he's not a good actor. He's an exceptional actor. I've seen him in quite a few he's an exceptional actor. Just throwing another Black guy in his role and being like, it's another Black guy. He can be T'Challa. I don't see that bearing the fruit that you two believe that it would. However, I believe that in the comics, because there was a storyline in which T'Challa dies and which another person within Wakanda ends up taking the Black Panther mantle, we did have a optional storyline that aligned with the comics in a way that was true to source material, that doesn't derail the entire flow of everything. It doesn't jar the audience too dramatically. It also allows for an appropriate amount of emotional impact from characters to actors within the storyline, because the actors are feeling the same things that the characters in the comics had felt when T'Challa passed. We get a very realistic reaction to a lot of moments within the film as a result. I personally did also like, in the same way that Supa O mentioned, I also did like Wakanda Forever. However, I am not comparing it to the original Black Panther film, because those two films had very different intentions. The original Black Panther film, in my own personal opinion, is, for myself, my favorite Marvel movie. Second favorite Marvel movie. I'm sorry. Second favorite Marvel movie. It is an exceptional Marvel
What's
film.
number one?
For me, number one is which one was first? Infinity War or Endgame?
Infinity War.
Infinity War is my favorite.
See, I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it a stack. In fact, I'm gonna be even more controversial. Okay, all right. You know, I'm today. I'm full of takes. That's not my hot take. All right, Black Panther is not even my top 5 MCU films. All right,
I
like Black Panther.
I don't think it's in my.
I've seen it a couple times, but like, I'm not gonna.
Sure.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest when it comes to like,
subjective.
Film quality and whatnot. You know, Black Panther is good. It's good, but I think it's limited in some ways, right? And I don't think the ways it's limited is even Coogler's fault. I think it being an MCU film is what kind of limits it from like reaching like the highest heights. But for what it is, very good, very good. But you know, I'm sorry, I gotta put like Winter Soldier and, you know, the Infinity War and Endgame, and you know, probably
Winter Soldier's in my
like
top
ahead
3.
Ahead of it. That being said, I think Wakanda Forever was something that's very impactful for me when I first saw it. But the more I consider it and the more I put it together, the main plot line gets a little sketchy in places. I don't want to turn this into like a, you know, a diatribe on Wakanda Forever, but for me personally, it just like it just doesn't connect. And part of that connection is the Shuri character doesn't have enough to carry the rest of the series, and that combined with a plot that's a little shaky when it comes to the Atlanteans and Namor. Even though Namor is incredible, the actor is incredible, and I think he's a very good presence, it just doesn't really connect.
It's just like two movies just being stuck together. Wow.
And also the fact that the final fight between the Atlanteans and the Wakandans is on that little boat, the little CG boat.
Yeah.
As they're just running around on it. I'm not going to act like that was good. I won't. Can't make me.
It kind of felt like a letdown. I was just like, oh, another CGI fight battle scene that we've seen tons and tons of time. It's not bad. We're always going to get a fight scene at the end. It's just for that specific one, I'm just like, it kind of was let down by time went on, where I was just like, I don't see any kind of good going back to it. Anything about it.
What about, okay.
It's important.
Okay, but what do you
It's important to like.
Oh yeah, no, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, you guys have gripes about that final fight, right? But that final CGI fight. But what are your thoughts about the CGI fight at the end of the original Black Panther?
Not good in my opinion.
When they were PS2 characters on the train, also not ideal. But I think the emotion behind Killmonger and T'Challa had a lot more depth in it than I would say Shuri and
Namor.
Even though I will say the Namor and Shuri fight is actually probably better than the Killmonger T'Challa fight. I would say that fight itself is
fight choreography. Are you referring to?
Yes, but I would put over the Wakandan Civil War over, even with the rhinos, I'd put that over the boat fight, because that boat fight's kind of lame.
There's so much sauce and good fighting from Civil War Black Panther than there is in his own titular role in his own film. It's just such a very weird comparison that I'm like, we just went from that to this. Even when I saw it the first
I hate that new vibranium suit. They should have kept the old one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the purple one. Yeah, that like absorbs all that. Man, that Civil War suit was so fire.
It was
the Civil War suit was.
It felt
heat.
real, too
It
real.
felt real.
Like he could just take it off and just put it like too much aura. Even at the first like 5 minutes of Black Panther, just him taking it off, it was just like.
That's and it kind of has that like that pressure seal to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get back to real suits, guys.
Yeah.
No more CGI.
MCU in general.
All right, so I will. I'll move on to my hot take.
It's an interesting take, Beto, but I respect your opinion.
Thank you.
I think. Well, I know we say hot takes. I don't think this is that hot. I know some people personally will get upset, but I don't think this is like that hot. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And my take is they need to bring back romance into movies. Okay, we've tried it. I mean, we need to have films where if we have a male and female lead, okay, at the end of it they make out. Okay, we need to return. All right, this is my most like conservative, take I think I've ever had, but I am tired of other woke nonsense that we're getting in movies. When I watch Twister, right?
I was about to say that.
When I watched Twister and, Glenn Powell's character and the main female lead had a pretty good chemistry, right? They had some good stuff. And then at the end of the movie, and they're clearly set up for a kiss between the two characters, and they just kind of hug it out. I'm like, what's going on here? What happened? What happened to the game? What happened to the game I love? It's just I feel like audiences at some point, I blame this squarely on millennials. Okay, I blame this squarely on some millennials who said, I'm uncomfortable with this. I don't like this. Or all the people who, when they started being subversive in the 2010s by not pairing people together and having them be friends, said, wow, I'm really glad. This was a good change of pace. They don't need to necessarily have the characters be together. I like platonic friendship. Shut up. Okay? All right? A movie is a fantasy. Okay? It's not real. And I think we need to go back to having romances in movies, right? And I think that's how you increase box offices, right? All the time we're having lower box offices, people are not coming to the movies. Every big like action movie that comes out these days doesn't have any romance between the male and female lead, right? Even like your superhero movies, right? If the character has a girlfriend, they'll barely mention them, right? Or they'll have no like on-screen partner, right? You go for like Shang-Chi, I remember like, they're just friends. Like nobody has relationships anymore, which is crazy to me.
No damsel in distress.
And I don't want a damsel. I'm not saying that. I'd rather have two, kick-ass people on screen, right? That have chemistry, right? And have relationships. I'm here for
Wonder
it.
Woman.
Right? Yes. And we're not like, and the thing about it is, so many action films, right? They say, there's no female audience, right? All these superhero films, there's no women that come. You know what to bring women to theaters? Romance. Okay? I know, right? I know what y'all like, all right? Okay? I've seen it. Okay, I've seen it. I've seen it.
Babe knows what them girls like. Okay,
yes,
Babe, talk, man.
They want a dainty female lead and a large, like tall, vaguely ethnic creature of some sort. Okay,
he's great. The reason he's saying that is because Frankenstein just came out on Netflix.
And there's a bunch. There's many examples. Okay, there's too numerous account. Okay, I know what y'all read. Okay, I know what y'all are into. Okay, when I saw Predator Badlands this week, right? I thought to myself, well, this movie's all right, but where's the romance? Where's the weird tension between the main female android and the predator? Where's that?
It's gonna happen.
Right?
In a
You might
sequel.
say, wait, that's weird. I don't know, man. This is established. Okay, go back to AVP. Right? The tension between that black lady and the predator in AVP was off the charts. Okay, people are here for it. All right, people are making fan art right now, shipping the android lady, like played by Elle Fanning, and the predator. Okay, the audiences are primed for it. They want it, right? But the studios have decided, oh no, nobody wants it. No, bring it back. Okay, we need to bring back the romance. We need to bring back the courtship, right? In our blockbuster action movies. This is how we save cinema, folks.
This is how we
All right, and I am like 95% serious right now in this take. But this is my take. We need more romantic plot lines in big budget action movies. And I'm tired of platonic friendships and side hugs.
Yeah.
It's crazy that Mandalorian has ran around for like 3 seasons and he does not have a girlfriend. What's going on here? What's happening?
Well, I thought there was something in that 7 Samurai episode.
Yeah, and then they threw it. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I actually agree with this take. I also feel like, and not only romance, but I think even romantic tension. I think there's a layer of romantic tension making you anticipate a romantic moment at some point in the movie, and then it happens and it feels like a payoff. I think in many instances, there are movies from the past that did a really great job of this, that were not marketed as romance movies, but that gave you that moment anyway, right? Sometimes there were comedies that had romance in them. And I think it's, unfortunately, mostly movies from like the 90s and early 2000s that did that quite a bit, and then it just kind of nosedived. Yeah, no, that's a good take. I agree with that take. I agree with you when you said it's not that hot of a take. It's not. It's a pretty valid take, and I agree with it wholeheartedly. It's a good one.
We must go back. Okay, this is my.
We must.
Oh yeah, I mean,
you have no.
I mean,
what, you don't want romance?
I mean, it's alright. I mean, personally, I think, because here's the thing,
doesn't
right?
impact him in any way.
Here's the thing, right? Like, I see what you mean, but at the same time, like, we've already had, like, they're still doing those types of movies. You know what I mean? If the characters are built up and they get together at the end, cool. But it has to feel natural. You know what I mean? And we just decided to put 2 characters at the end, just to put 2 characters at the end, even though this just because we.
What I'm saying is that they don't even write those plot lines anymore, man. They don't even write it.
Yeah, not for no reason. Like, yeah, give it rationale, but like, it'd be nice if it had rationale and happened.
Yeah.
is what we're trying.
Think about every superhero movie, right? Every MC movie that's come out in the last 5 years.
Yeah,
almost none of them. Right? Superman was a good change of pace. There was actually some really great romance with Lois Lane, and that enhanced the movie.
Yeah, but that's like what?
But like,
but yeah, that's like let's use the MCU, right? That's like 2 or 3 movies out of like what 25 that have a love interest romance. I would say like having no,
like, which ones, man? At this point,
point?
You might say, like Iron Man. That was a while ago. That was a pre-established thing, right?
Mhm.
Let's talk about the last few years, right? What have we had? We've had
Fantastic Four.
We've had Thunderbolts.
We had Thunderbolts, right? No, a bunch of characters, no relationships. Crazy.
Fair.
Fantastic Four, they're already in a relationship.
Yeah,
they're already in a pre-established marriage.
Yeah,
I'm not counting. I'm not counting those.
I
will not count those.
And I'd even argue Chibala and Torch had a thing, but that's just me, I guess.
But oh yeah, that was a little thing. Okay, if that movie came out in the 2000s, they would have made out. All right,
I mean, well, we saw 2000
and you know it,
Fantastic Four.
and you know it.
I mean,
Shout out to
like,
Chris
there's
But
no
I'm
need.
just saying,
Sometimes it just bogs down.
I disagree, and that's where I disagree.
There was
okay?
no romance
we
in
need to
Captain
bring back.
America.
If there's
Where'd the love go?
if there's a need for it, yeah, put it in. But like, I just don't see a point in that. My whole thing is
See,
just like,
your brain,
I don't see a
right
point
now,
of
your brain is
forcing
telling
it
you,
where it doesn't
right? Your
need to be in.
brain's saying, "Oh well, I mean, I don't need
Especially-
it because the movie has to have this, this, and this, right?" And that's right? That's what your brain's telling you, but your heart, empty, unsatisfied, right? Wants to so desperately filled with depictions of love and affection, and you won't even know it. You don't even know it. Oh, it's very sad.
Yeah, you know what I mean. It's been empty for a minute, man. Anyway,
I recommend watching The Naked Gun with
but like,
Liam Neeson. I think
but yeah,
that
you know, it
there's
works,
some love.
You know, yeah, but romance could work. You know what I mean? I'm just like right now. I don't know if any of y'all are playing it, but Dispatch, I think it's having a really good love route right now. You know what I mean?
And that's why people are talking about it. That's why people love it. People love romance. People crave it. People want it.
You just proved this point.
But every big budget thing's like, no, can't do it. Sorry.
Yeah, it's a missed opportunity in some instances, especially when
I mean, even in
especially
the
when there's
big video
tension, and then
games
it
don't have
doesn't-
it.
doesn't lead to anything.
I mean, has it
haven't
ever really
been.
been a big thing in video game? I mean, I guess
The fact that in the new God of War movie, not movie, but in the new God of War game, Ragnarok, we can't have an official Freya Kratos pairing, right? Even though they're kind of going in a direction, but we can't have a pairing of them in the game is crazy to me. Okay,
I haven't played it. So
some of these video game characters, I'm just saying. I mean, it's part of
It's valid.
love in romance is a human experience.
yeah, no.
And why are we shutting off a human experience?
I'm just saying we've had a lot of movies. We've been
Okay.
it's not like those movies aren't, and it's not, and we're still having movies with that. It's not like it's gone. So for me,
greatly
for
reduced.
me, it doesn't seem like such a big non-issue. It's like if we had to like go into a vacuum, right? And we put it into the vacuum of all the movies that's ever been created. 90% of those have what you're talking about. It's only it's only the ones, the newer ones, like you're saying, they probably noticing a reduced amount in, but it's still like overwhelming compared to like the pot of stuff that do have it. At least for me.
I'm saying it's greatly dropped off, and we need to go back. In fact, I would say it's a symptom of society's ills. How can we heal if we've forgotten how to love?
This man speaks in tropes. I really can't. That's wild. It said, "How can we heal? Forgotten how to love." Oh, I can't, bro. That's funny. Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's just my thought.
All right, Gray, you have a hot take.
I do
You
have.
said
I do
this
have a
hot take is even greater than your last one, and the last one has created a miniature civil war
Yes.
in the comment section.
This one might be a fire starter. And guess what, kids? It's another anime themed hot take. Although we've gotten some diversity in the hot take space, I love that. That's fantastic. Great. My hot take is that in the world of fiction, in the realm of rivalries, right? So we think about antagonist turned rival. We have a lot of them in fiction. We even had one in Gurren Lagann. There is usually not an enormous amount of character development from rivals, especially when you compare it to the character development of like a main character or like a main antagonist. In many instances, character development is lacking when you talk about rival characters. However, my hot take is that the main antagonist-ish character rival to Deku and My Hero Academia, Bakugo, has the largest amount of character development of any rival character in anime. That is my hot take.
Bakugo.
Bakugo.
Okay, all right.
has the largest amount of character development from the time that we first see him until I guess where the anime is at right now of any character that we have seen in the anime.
All right.
More than oh wait, no, I'll let you go.
I was gonna say that.
Go for it.
Vegeta.
I was gonna say the same thing. Our minds are linked.
Let's talk about Vegeta, right? Let's talk about Vegeta, because when I talk about character development, I'm talking about a visual progression, right? Where we see like a person like, oh, like
Yes,
these are changes and there's a logical reason for these changes taking place, right?
I'm following you.
When I see character development that feels like a plot twist, I usually raise an eyebrow and I'm like, is this development or did the writer just want to make this fit? Right? Because the biggest shift we see in Vegeta's personality happens when we find out that he took Bulma from Yamcha. And we're like, what? Where? How? And all of a sudden, now that Bulma and Vegeta are an item, now all of a sudden Vegeta's a completely different person from the way that he was prior to that point in the story. In my opinion, that's not development, is just a sharp left turn. I like to see a measure of growth from the character that culminates in something that is a logical progression of who this character is. When something doesn't make sense, I don't call that genuine character progression. Name another.
See, no.
Go for it. Go for it. Go for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I can win bigger, right, if I do this. And that leads him to rebel against his, boss, Frieza, right? And go on a tear through Namek, trying to get the Dragon Balls and trying to, progress here. And he feels, well, if I just fulfill these conditions, if I work hard and I fulfill these conditions, right, I can beat all these people who are over me, and I can achieve this, like, incredible goal that no one else has achieved in 1,000 years. I can become a Super Saiyan, right? That puts him on a pathway to be like, I will be Super Saiyan. I'll be Super Saiyan. I'll be Super Saiyan. Even at a point where he gets like a medium power up. He's like, I'm a Super Saiyan now, right? Only to realize he's not it. It's Goku, right? Goku beats Frieza, right? For him, he can't even beat Frieza. He dies, right? That causes him to reassess his life even further, right? When he comes back to life, he's like, wow, I did all that, and I died, and now I have to contend with the fact that I'm not him, right? That's Goku. And he's kind of bratty on Earth. He's like, well, I'm so strong, I could take it over, right? But he doesn't have that same drive, that same dog that he had when he first came back, right? Because he still knows Goku's better than him. And that pushes him. And in that moment, he has a fling. I would say he falls in love with Bulma. He's a fling with Bulma. Those are different things. He's a fling with Bulma, and Bulma happens to get pregnant from this fling, right? And Vegeta's still on this, like, I'll become Super Saiyan kick. And that doubles when Trunks comes for the future. He's like, wait, there's 2 Super Saiyans now. I don't have it. There's 2 of them. Goku's back. He's stronger than I could ever imagine. Right. I gotta go on now. So he leaves, becomes Super Saiyan, right? He's not a father. He's on Bulma's life at all. Right? Becomes Super Saiyan. He's like, yes, I'm finally that guy. No one can stop me. Right? I'm on this journey. Only after all this work to get his arm broken by Android 18. And he's back down a peg. He's like, what's going on? Right? And every time throughout this thing, every time he kind of rises up, he gets put back down. Every time he's arrogant, he gets put back down. And every time he thinks he's top dog, he's surpassed by someone else. Right? Ultimately, what changes his character the most is in the Cell Saga, right? when he can't beat Cell, right? Goku doesn't beat Cell. It's Gohan who beats Cell. Gohan is far stronger than either of them, right? Everyone. And he's like, at that point, he's just like, wow, what was the point of this? And Goku's dead. He can't even challenge the guy who started all of this. So that kind of puts him on like this journey of self-discovery, and eventually kind of is like, all right, I'm going to settle down for a little bit, because he needs to find like a second purpose, because it's not strength anymore. That allows him to settle down, right? Become more domesticated. And since he knows Trunks is his son from the future, he's like, actually, maybe I will spend time with this Trunks guy, right? My kid, right? Maybe I'll be a father, right? It's a gradual process, but even then, it's not a all the way process, because in the Majin Buu saga, when he goes through his midlife crisis, he's like, well, I have a chance to actually get my power back, and I got a chance to be that guy, the guy I used to be. And that's a character flaw. He takes it, he gets a power up, right? And then when he realizes the ramifications of his power up, and he realizes, actually, I do love my son. I do care about these people, right? He makes the ultimate sacrifice. And the ultimate sacrifice, when he gets brought back to life, pushes him over the edge to become a more heroic character. And now when he returns, right, and he's with Goku, he's from the perspective of, well, I'm going to work with you, and I'm okay with actually you being stronger than me.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where he's like, yeah, you're better than me, Goku. That's okay. I can live with that. Doesn't mean I'm going to stop trying, but I can live with that. And then that progresses even on in Super and even further, where he genuinely becomes a friend and ally to the group. And he's willing to work. And even though he's his pride, so his character, it's a gradual process, right? And that's an arc that takes place over the entire thing of Dragon Ball. So, nice try. Nice attempt.
No, I listen. I still stand by my take. I do enjoy Vegeta's character progression. I do enjoy the changes that Vegeta makes as a character. But when I look at, I can look at where he starts and look at where he ends. And, you've done a great job of kind of explaining that journey from all the eventual ups and downs that ended up with him turning into what he finally becomes. I still look at a character like Bakugo, and, I still consider Bakugo's original position, right? Because his story arc starts before they go to UA, and we can see his mentality in many ways bears a strong sense of similarity to Vegeta's. Of, I am simply the strongest in this classroom. I deserve to be the strongest at this hero school, and I'm gonna achieve the goal of being as strong as or greater than the person I look up to, who is All Might, right? And then you have this quirkless kid that says, I have the same goal as you. And at the beginning, Bakugo just absolutely just lays into this kid, just like puts him down, beats him up, throws his notebook in the water, just like a lot of behaviors and actions to say, you don't even deserve to stand next to someone like me. Like, you don't even compute at my level. You shouldn't be in the same spaces as me. You shouldn't be in the same school as me. You shouldn't be in the same class as me. You don't qualify. I'm the man that makes things pop. You literally do nothing, right? You're literally useless, right? And this character concept behind Bakugo, with this really intense level of aggression and what feels like malice, was kind of came across as villainous at the beginning of the story. We almost equated this kid with, like, is he a villain? Like, what type of energy is he on? I loved how the story actually gives him an opportunity, through the way that they flowed through the story, to give him an opportunity to join that side if he really wanted to do so. And we get like little bits and pieces of his character slowly revealed, and it culminates over a pretty lengthy period of time with him building connections with his hero next to Deku, right? Building bonds with All Might through his connection with Deku, and his frustration of this person that was quirkless all of a sudden is earning his spot next to me. I have a problem with that. This shouldn't be happening. I'm way stronger than him. I have my quirk way longer than him. How is this possible? How is he achieving so much? And then the story progresses even further. I'm going to skip a few plot lines here in the interest of time, but I'm going to move ahead to a point where Deku does feel like he has to shoulder the burden of hero society by himself. And we get what some refer to as Dark Deku, where he more or less abandons all sense of self-preservation in the interest of protecting the populace. And his classmates come to his aid, specifically Bakugo comes to his aid and holds out his hand to him and extends an olive branch, so to speak, and then explains the rationale behind all of his actions up to that point as a sense of in-depth insecurity that he's had to come to grips with and come to acknowledge, and that he realizes that the team is stronger as a unit versus him working by himself. He was so self-centered at certain points in the story that he rejected help from anyone unless they were someone that he considered a close friend. And he had such a high level of pride. Like I said, very similar in some elements to Vegeta in those ways. With his Saiyan pride, Bakugo had a really high sense of pride as well. And now in the story, we're getting to a stage where Bakugo is operating almost as self-destructively as Deku has earlier in the story for the purpose of kind of achieving the heights that he was never able to achieve before, and acknowledging that his strength is not a solitary effort. It's something that he has achieved collaboratively with the people that he cares about and those around him. He's grown such an extensive amount over the course of the story through a variety of small moments and small changes that culminate in him not only being a hero, but a hero that leans on others more than he leans on himself. For those reasons, and all the changes are logical, they make sense, they flow within the story, I just haven't seen a rival character make as dramatic of a shift as Bakugo in anime. Of course, there are different forms of fiction where some of those things are a little bit different, but specifically in anime, even Vegeta, and I love Vegeta. Vegeta's one of my favorite characters. So when you recounted the story, I appreciated you doing that. Vegeta's I'm a huge Vegeta fan. I still, even with Vegeta, I don't view the changes that he made as a character to be as dramatic as what I've seen from Bakugo from a development level.
All right, I hear you. Now, for time and sanity, the fact that we've been recording for a minute, and you may not realize this, listener, but it's like almost 2:00. I will not respond to you. Okay, I will let the comment section decide your fate, good sir.
Good.
I also toss in,
and they will determine the veracity of your. So that being said, I think we had a really great time, really great recording tonight. Now, next week, our next podcast, we will venture into the land of India, and we will record our first. Let me double check this so I don't get fried again, like I was fried last time about whether or not something is Bollywood or Tollywood. Anyways, we'll be reviewing the film Entheron, also known as Robot in the US. It is a Tamil language, so I believe that is a Tollywood film that we'll be reviewing. It is a classic, came out in 2010, and really great time. I think people call it like the Indian Terminator. Real secret is it's Indian.
Good night.
All right.
Goodbye.
See you.
Thanks
for joining, everyone.
See ya.
Bye-bye.